Firstly, there are certain functions which media has to perform. I'm sure each one of us have very serious complaints about media. So in the first few minutes I'll spend on, as a media critic, I'm a media practitioner, media trainer, and a media critic, and a media consumer, 4 molded into one role. And we will also evolve some kind of an action program at the end, because in our country the problem is we speak a lot but we act very less. So philosophers have interpreted the world in many ways, but the thing is to change it. Seminars interpret in a myriad ways, but what is the action that has to be done? And what do I expect from you, and what do you expect from me? So we will try to evolve an action group. I believe I understand that most of you are from civil society groups, am I right? NGOs, am I right? So in fact, these days government is also keen on knowing what civil society organization doing. In fact, tomorrow I will be addressing the civil services probationers at Murray Channareddy Institute for Human Resource Development, the latest batch of 5 civil service probationers, on civil society organizations and government. That is an interesting topic again. So people are also trained, people in government are also being trained in civil society action. So firstly, media is supposed to perform certain basic functions in society. The first function is the minimum, the credible information function. Media should provide credible information. This is a very big problem these days in Andhra Pradesh and Telangana. So if you look at how media is covering the level of cooperation farmers are giving to capital, one paper says farmers are welcoming మేల తాళాలతో స్వాగతం పలుకుతున్న రైతులు. So farmers are eagerly waiting for government to come and take the land. So that is one paper. Another paper says a warlike situation as farmers protest. So nobody knows. I'm sure truth may be somewhere in between. But the problem is, if you read one paper, you do not know the truth. If you read 2 papers, you really get terribly confused. If you read the 3rd paper, you will become mad, ultimately. So that is how the media is today, because of the entrenched political interest, partisan interest. So that's the first function. And this credible information function is severely eroded, especially in the 24/7 television, due to the sensationalism. So this is the biggest problem. And all of us are victims of this sensationalism. Couple of years back, I was coming in a car from Warangal. Normally I travel by bus outside Hyderabad. I've been using car in Hyderabad, my own car, for last 10 years. You will be wondering, I just took my car outside Hyderabad only twice in my lifetime. So I deliberately use public transport, because as a public personality, as a leader, you should be an example to others. That is my belief. In Hyderabad, I cannot do this, because if I do this, my productivity will suffer like anything. That is the reason I don't do it. So the experience is I'm coming by a car, and there was an accident. I met with an accident. Nothing happened to me. A sand lorry hit my car, and it was a very new car, brand new car, 4 days back I purchased it. And the door was completely damaged. And I was there in the car along with my family. So I'm narrating this anecdote to epitomize the character of media. So I just heard the big sound, because I was sitting in the car and I really don't know what happened outside. So I was telling my son to open the window and see. By the time I got a phone call, my mobile was ringing. He said, "Sir, how are you, sir? I believe there is an accident to you." I said, "How do you know?" "I do not know till." Then he said, "Sir, it's coming, TV, scrolling, sir." "So how is it possible?" They said, "Sir, you are in the car, but the television reporter is behind you on a motorcycle." So he first saw the accident and immediately reported it. So the story said, MLC Nageshwar car met with an accident. Nageshwar is safe. So no problem with that headline. But next TV channel has to give a different headline, different scrolling. It can't give the same thing, competition. So it said, Sand Larry hit Nageshwar's car, Nageshwar safe. Immediately there was a doubt in the minds of many of our friends and admirers. How can Nageshwar be safe when Sand Larry hits? And that also says Sand Larry hit, car completely damaged. So in Telugu they said, Iskalari D, Nuggu Nuggaina Karu, Nageshwar Kshemam. Nageshwar Kshemam ante na Nageshwar ante Telugu cinema actor, hero gaadu kada. I am not Balakrishna to be safe. So how is it possible? That too with a Sand Larry accident, am I right? And my in-laws were terribly shattered. Nageshwar Kshemam antunnaru kani bharya pillal Kshemam antaleru kada. Something might have happened to my daughter. Genuine concern. Next, after a hour, a leading TV channel has given a scrolling. MLC Nageshwar car met with an accident. Car completely damaged. Nageshwar injured, brought to Gandhi Hospital. I was in Bonagiri police station at that time when the TV channel admitted me into the hospital. And I got angry and called up the TV channel and said, how do you break the protocol? You should know that a legislator, if met with an accident, you will be shifted to NIMS, not to Gandhi Hospital. You should know at least that. You should be aware as a protocol at least. Other than, okay, other things I can understand. I'm not an ordinary man. Fortunately, I'm a senior legislator. We have a free medical care facility at NIMS with a special ward, VIP ward. You should admit me only in that VIP ward. You can't admit me wherever you like. So it's a violation of my protocol, and I will file a privilege motion in the Legislative Council for violating my privileges as a legislator. So this is the, I gave you this example because I don't want to bore you with a long lecture in the morning. So this anecdote epitomizes the character of media. I don't need anything more on that. I'm sure all of you might have heard about media. There's a popular joke, though you might have heard, I still narrate it for sake of relief. A bishop was sent to US and was cautioned not to speak to media. But when he landed in New York, our journalist friend flocked at him and he was motivated to speak. So the journalist asked him, what is your itinerary today? Are you going to nightclubs? Bishop got angry. I'm a religious preacher. How can they say this nonsense to me? And he shouted at them, are there nightclubs in New York? Next day headline, are there nightclubs in New York? Bishop asked with great curiosity. So Bishop understood the damage. And in his entire tour, he never spoke to media. On his return, he was again cornered by our friends. Then they asked me, how was your US tour? Then Bishop said, nothing so great to be printed in your newspapers. Next day headline, Bishop leaves US with unprintable experiences. So I'm sure these two anecdotes will tell you how the credible information function is eroded due to several reasons. There are several reasons, professional and unprofessional reasons. The second role the media has to do is the critical adversarial function. I strongly believe in any society, media and intellectuals, if they become an appendage to the authority or people in power, that society will suffer. I strongly believe it. So we have to raise questions on behalf of the people. We have to represent the unrepresented. So that is the objective of the media. I do agree. There are concerns of commerce. There are constraints of advertisers. But it's not so easy to tell morals. Preaching morals is different from practicing it. But within the given constraints, we will have to represent the unrepresented. We'll have to perform a critical adversarial function. So you'll have to evaluate the media from a standpoint of these two things. One, the credible information function, two, critical adversarial function. Then the third thing is, because Gandhiji said there are 7 socially perilous evils in society. He said knowledge without character, religion without sacrifice, worship without sacrifice, wealth without work. So like that he said, science without humanity, commerce without charity. So Gandhiji missed the eighth one, that is media without social responsibility. That is socially perilous to society. It's very dangerous to society. So critical adversarial function is the two. Third is the investigative function. It should investigate the wrongdoings in society. Amartya Sen, in his comparison of India and China, he writes this repeatedly in several of his books, like Development as Freedom, Political Economy of Hunger, Hunger and Public Action. In many of these books, Amartya Sen drives home one important point. China has surpassed India on many aspects of social and economic development. But on one aspect, India scored better or fared well. That is in conquering famines. Independent India conquered famines, which China could not do. And one of the reasons which he says is the multi-party political system and free press, because they provide an warning signals of an impending crisis. So media provide a warning signal of an impending crisis. A few days back, I wrote in my daily, which I am the editor, Ans India, of that the massive power tariff hike likely next fiscal. So I caution the people of Telangana that the government, there is a likelihood of 10,000 crore tariff hike, power tariff hike next fiscal year. So what is that? We are warning. So warning signals of an impending crisis. So this is the role which media has to play. So that you can only play that role effectively if you perform the critical investigative function. So that is the third role. The fourth function is, of course, the leisure function, the pastime function, entertaining the people. So that, of course, the media has to do. But we'll have to revisit and redefine what is entertainment. Unfortunately, obscenity is defined as entertainment. Vulgarity is defined as entertainment. But as I understand, entertainment is making your life lighter. So I believe that even economics should be told in entertaining manner. So I do a program at 8 a.m. on 10 TV. You'll be surprised. 1 week, I examine the television rating points. This week, it is the third most popular program on Telugu television. So one day, I was shocked to see the ratings. People have wrong notions about ratings. My rating for my program, I spoke on RTC bus fare hike. Why should it not be done? And that program got more rating than Pawan Kalyan's Atavar Intik Daredi. And that, what does it mean? It's a very dry subject, bus fare hike. But if you tell it in an entertaining manner, what is entertainment? It should make your life easier, lighter. As a father, after a day's excruciating work, after days work, working for 14 hours, 12 hours a day, if I go home around 8:39 in the night, and if my little daughter comes to me saying, Nana, I think that is much more entertaining than seeing a heroine on the silver screen. Absolutely, it's more entertaining. It makes my life, I forget everything. I forget my work, I forget my pressure, I forget everything. So my wife always says, "Idan baga alsipoyi vachinappudu nuvu po bidda ninnaithe emana nana ani." So because father can't tell anything to daughter, he can tell son. Yeah, but daughter enjoys that kind of privilege in houses. So the reason why I'm telling is entertainment should also be redefined. The fourth function is the agenda setting function. Media should set an agenda on various issues, on various aspects of the thing. It should be a voice to the voiceless. I'm not exaggerating. There are constraints. If I write a good story, if I do a good program on tribal discontent on a TV, no advertiser will come forward to sponsor it. And all of you know, newspaper or a TV channel is the most subsidized commodity, perhaps more subsidized than the free power, because that's the most subsidized. So a paper, what you pay for the paper is only peanuts compared to the production cost. And television, you don't even pay anything. Whatever you pay is only for a cable fellow. So given this fact, given this economics, I always argue there is also problems of people's taste and ideas. The problem is media is a market. If the media will only respond to markets, it is like, how does market work? Market is not hell-bent on destroying society. But market doesn't mind destroying society if it is financially rewarding for it. So as simple as this, if people are eating carrots, Abhishek Bachchan or Aishwarya Rai will come and say, carrot is healthy, why don't you use this Ambani carrots? It will tell. If people are eating chocolates, then the same Aishwarya Rai comes and says, eat chocolates. So it is a question of people, what people like. There's also an unfortunate problem in our country where the society is not prepared to even receive the healthy things properly. So this is the problem. So we'll have to create a media literacy movement. All of us, we speak a lot, but what do we see on television? We see, I have seen, I did a small survey. Chiranjeevi's daughter left home, you know that issue. She married someone. So on that day, TV channels gave 2-3 hour coverage, first show coverage. So I asked many serious people who were bitter critics of television, what did you see yesterday? And to my great surprise, 90% said they saw the Chiranjeevi daughter case. So they again come to seminars and say, what is this? Media is highlighting trivial issues. Nonsense. Media has to highlight public issues. They give speeches. But the people who give speeches will again go back and sit before television and watch even only trivial shows. What should we do? So who is to be blamed here? Either media or society. So I said, I believe that we should work out a formula. That formula is as follows. What interest public need not necessarily be in public interest. What interest public need not necessarily be in public interest. If you only publish and telecast something which interests public, it may be detrimental to society at times. But if you want to publish only something which is of public interest, without bothering whether it interests public or not, then the paper or TV channel will be closed. Because it's not a charity, you have to run it. So we have to strike a balance between what interests public and what is in public interest. So that is the major challenge before any media organization. You'll have to combine these two things. What interests public and what is in public interest. And public interest information should also be presented in a manner in which people are interested in it. Even a serious public information should also be presented to the audience through a television show or through a newspaper report in a manner in which it appeals to the reader and the viewer. Otherwise, people don't read, people don't watch. You can't dictate people, especially after this remote has come. Remote is the biggest enemy of television journalists. So nobody knows when will that viewer go. At least in a newspaper, retention value is higher. So this is a big challenge. So from media angle also is a big challenge. So this is another function which media has to perform, striking a balance between what interests public and what interests public and what is in public interest. So this is again a challenge. But to perform these functions, I have explained to you the function which I think media has to perform in society. Let me come to the second part of my lecture. So how to really do it? What are the constraints to it? First constraint may be ownership, but I don't believe that ownership is always a constraint. It is a wrong theoretical notion. I have been commenting on Telugu television for more than 10 years. Perhaps I am the most often seen face on the Telugu television screen after anchors. Anchors are obviously more seen. But let me tell you, no TV channel has ever told me to speak in such a manner. And let me tell you, no one. Only thing they do is they cleverly avoid me if they think that my opinion will be contrary to their interest. So if I go to Sakshi TV, they will never ask me about Y.S. Jagan. They know very well. Because I will be speaking independently. So that they take care. That they take care. I'll tell you, narrate. I don't think any media people are there. There was an incident on Tank Ban. The statues of some eminent people were brought down. I was very critical of it. I said this is not the right culture, right thing to do. And I spoke on various TV channels. T-News, which is telecast from TRS Bhavan, called me for a program and they asked me this question: what is your opinion on this? My opinion doesn't change with the change of channel. So I was frank and frontal, condemning the incident. Obviously, this raises many an eyebrow on a channel whose loyalties are known. So, but the issue was brought to the higher levels. You will be surprised, the highest level person told them, it is your mistake. When you call Mr. Nageshwar, you know what is his stand on that issue. Why are you foolish? Why are you foolish to ask him such question? You can't expect him to change his opinion because he has come to our channel. You should have in fact asked a question on something which his opinion will be useful to us. That ఆ తెలివి నీకు ఉండాలి కదా ఆయన ఏది చెప్తే మనకు ఉపయోగమో అది అడగాలి మీరు అని. So that media do. But no newspaper owner, no TV owner ever told me to write or speak in this particular manner. So that is the wrong notion people have. Second thing is, there is a very large public space in media. But the problem is, the structure of the media doesn't allow to properly utilize this public space. Suppose I have an half a dozen reporters, a dozen reporters. How am I distributing those reporters? So I keep two people for one political party for TDP, another political party for TRS, one reporter for TDP, one reporter for TRS, one reporter for YSR Congress, BJP left, one reporter for Congress. Normally one reporter is not sufficient for Congress when it is in power or not, because there are multiple voices in Congress. So I have to keep two reporters to cover two different voices in Congress. So where are the human resources for me? So here NGOs, civil society groups can play a role. My appeal to you is, bring the grassroots issue to the media organizations. I don't know about other channels and other newspapers, but you bring it to me. I am here to cooperate. It is up to you. So any public issue which is a matter of concern to civil society, which people's issues to be represented, you just mail it to me. You can speak to me. We will publish with your name or without your name, depending on whatever is your interest. So this interaction, civil society organizations have to develop with the media organizations. I'm sure many media organizations may not come forward also, but at least I am telling from my side, we are here to publish any story which you give, provided it is of public interest. It concerns people. It is up to you now how much you use media to represent the unrepresented. So if you do not use it, it is a problem of the civil society. You can't expect media to cover every public issue, because media neither has human resources to cover it, nor the inclination to cover it. So therefore, it is we from the civil society who has to proactively intervene in media to expand the public space in a private media. So we have to proactively intervene to expand the people's organizations, mass organizations, civil society groups, NGOs should proactively intervene to expand the public space in a private media. Because many of you are working in different NGOs. You have experience. One person may be working on environmental issues. One person may be working on groundwater issues. Another person may be working on greenery. One person may be working on road safety. Another person may be working on child rights. So on slums, somebody may be working. So different people will be working. So you have a better idea of what happens there. I don't know. So how do I get as a journalist as a source? So I get information when you are in touch with me or I am in touch with you. So sometimes it may not be possible for media people to be in touch with you. For example, I'll tell you, I have gone to a protest of Singareni Collieries contract workers. So they told me how their employment is shrinking in Singareni Collieries. In 91, around 1.17 lakh people were working in Singareni Collieries. It has now come down to 60,000, out of which 20,000 are contract employees, underpaid, exploited people. So now I went to their meeting as a legislator. In my capacity as a legislator, I went there. But I got the information from them, and now I'm using it as a journalist and an editor. So I'm writing a piece on that now. So an article, a report, representing the concerns of the Singareni workers. So like that, we will represent the concerns, but provided we have that link with you. At least I am the one important reason which brought me here, apart from talking to all of you, is this kind of partnership between media and civil society. We want to begin this partnership. I don't know about other newspapers, but at least as I am concerned, as someone who is concerned with the public issues, I've been working on the public issues, please tell me, we can even structure it. How do you work with us? How do we work with you? We have a severe constraint of human resources. No media can afford to stretch beyond a point. They cannot pay the wage bill and all that. So here you can be of great help to us. And your task is to represent the underrepresented. My task as a journalist is also to represent the underrepresented. So then we can work out a partnership to represent the underrepresented. So you can give information, or you can even write, we'll publish with your name also. So like that we can develop this partnership for the benefit of the people. So that is one concrete action plan I want to suggest. I want to propose. I want your reaction, and how best you react, we'll see. Otherwise, what is the use of having seminars, symposia, hot samosas, good or bad lunch, working lunch? So that ultimately nothing comes out. So I'm not talking about this seminar, but academic seminars, I'm a very big critic of that. Most of the academic seminars end up with more voices than action. So let us evolve an action plan. So the civil society should network with government, should network with people in public life. As a legislator, if you bring it to me, I can raise the questions about that. For example, someone called me, he's a wildlife biologist working with some NGO. I don't remember the name, whether I am not sure whether the person is here. He told me, because there is a question in the Legislative Council 3 days back on Haritaharam, greenery. And he called me and said, sir, that how the forest cover is depleted. They're talking about planting 230 crore trees. But social forestry is different from natural forestry. And he gave me that information. Fortunately, I also have some knowledge of that because I have been on the Legislative Standing Committee on Environment and Wildlife and Forest for 7 years. So I raised this matter in the Legislative Council immediately. Sir, you are talking about Haritaharam. But unless you tackle and address the socio-economic conditions that lead to fast depletion and erosion of forest cover, it is not possible to revive the forest cover. You may plant trees, but that is not a substitute to natural forest. Nature has a capacity to regenerate itself. If you address the issues of poverty, address the issues of socio-economic conditions of the people, then you can actually create a conducive climate conditions for the natural regeneration of forest. This arises in the Legislative Council. So how did I do it? I am not an expert as a legislator. Don't expect me to know everything on the earth. So neither as a legislator nor as journalist, it is not possible for me to know everything. Because my problem is, I write about land pooling today morning and I write about gold market movements by afternoon and end up in writing an editorial on G20 by end of the day. So G20, gold market, land pooling. Is there a link between the three? So I have to, I switch on from one topic to switch. I move from one topic to other. So this is my problem as a journalist. So therefore, I can understand if you can try to cooperate. So as a legislator, so it is a legislative advocacy and media advocacy is something which many NGOs are doing, but seriously lacking. There is a much greater effort, more structured effort is required for this legislative advocacy and media advocacy. I'm sure NGOs can only create prototypes. I don't believe that NGOs can change society totally because our resources are limited. Government, it has much large quantum of resources at its disposal. But through the advocacy, if we can change the society and government, we can achieve much better result than what we are actually doing. So that is the reason why we think that such kind of partnerships have to be built between media and government, media and civil society, government and civil society through media advocacy and legislative advocacy. So I am appealing to you both as a legislature and as a journalist for such a kind of advocacy. Try to work out that advocacy. We are here to work with you and try to ensure that the concerns of the people are represented. Ultimately, it is our duty. Otherwise, we don't sit here on Sunday morning here. Instead, we spend time watching a film on television or do something different. What is the reason why we have to come? So this is the issue which you have to really make. So because very few people in this country have a public attitude. I have been for the last 30 years, almost on any Sunday, I will not be at home totally. So I'll be running from one meeting to other. Now from here, I'm going for junior doctors negotiations with the government, proposed negotiations. So I'll be working. So one day my uncle came to my house and told my wife, so it seems Nageshwar is earning a lot of money because on Sunday also he's not at home. I said, what is this? He doesn't earn. So why he doesn't earn? So otherwise, why will he go out? They do not know. I come here. I'm sure you will not be paying anything to me. So I come here on my own car and went. So next meeting, junior doctors meeting, they don't pay anything. Perhaps they may give a cup of tea or even not. That is also doubtful. So, but I still run around. So one day he quarreled with me. How much are you getting? If you are not getting, why do you go to the meetings? Then I got angry and asked him a very simple question. How many times do you go to Tirupati in a year? He said at least once, sometimes twice. Then I asked him, how much TTD pay you? He said, what is this? Or otherwise, why will you go? If TTD is not paying anything to you, why will you go twice to Tirupati? This question irritated him. What is this nonsense you are telling? I believe in God. Then I said, I believe in people. Simple. You believe in God, I believe in people. So because you believe in God, you go twice. So this I said 20 years ago. Let me tell you, after I won the election, winning the money, people who fought against me spent 2 crores, 3 crores. I have won the election by spending hardly 1.5 or 2 lakh rupees. That too, not a single rupee from my pocket. People like you, friends like you, donate a little bit money without expecting anything in return. So I won the election. Then he came to my house and said, now I understand what is the meaning of your TTD analogy, he said. So I have gone to Tirumala in last 20 years 40 times, but God has not made me legislator. So, but you have gone to people, but people made you legislator. But then I told him, I have not gone to people in last 20 years, hoping that I will become a legislator. I really don't know that a council will be revived also. So it is a commitment to the people, whether we are legislators, we are not, that as there is someone who is educated, I'm not sacrificing my life. I have a fairly happy life. I have a beautiful house, a car, and a couple of 1 or 2 plots. So I'm not, because I'm a professor with more than 1 lakh salary. So I'm not a poor man. That doesn't mean if I represent impoverished people, I'm not poor. So impoverished people, poor people do not have time to represent poor because they are busy eking out their livelihood. They don't have time to organize meeting of poor people. So as someone who has a fairly decent life, I want to spend some time for the concerns of the impoverished, for the concerns of marginalized, for the concerns of underrepresented. So let us have a partnership in this great journey. So I really thank you, and I profusely thank the organizers and thank all of you for a patient hearing. So I hope I have not bored you. So thank you very much. Thank you, friends.